What is up, guys? It is Strider coming at you with some more Pokemon content. Today we are going to do my week 1 prep video. Usually I'd put this out after I play the game, but since so many in my league are unfamiliar with the Draft League format, I wanted to get this out. Maybe they get some ideas from it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it just kind of pushes them in the right direction on how they should plan for games. The first thing about team prep that you kind of want to know is you want to plan for all 11 of your opponent's roster. This is actually my roster. We'll go ahead and pull up. This is my roster right here on the left, and then what I decided to bring on the right, and I'll go over why I decided to bring all this. But actually, let's go ahead and look at his roster. So when my opponents, so when you do plan, you want to try to do as best as you can to cover all 11. You don't really want to try to sit there and just like think about all 6, figure out the exact 6 that you expect him to bring. It's just not worth the. You should spend that mental energy somewhere else. Also, you'll be wrong most of the time. I mean, the best preppers in the league formats probably get like 4 or 5 right on average. So really, it's going to be difficult for you to get all 6 right, especially consistently. So really, I'm trying to just cast a wide net. And one of the first things I like to do when I look at an opponent's team is I like to look at which of my threats just match up well against his team. Like which one of my threats are in good speed tiers, for example. Or which one of my threats has just like good typing against them, things like that. And the first thing that jumped out to me this week was Jolteon. 5 of his 11 Pokemon are actually weak to Electric. Vaporeon, Gyarados, Mega Sharpedo, Togetic, and Skarmory. They are all actually weak to Electric, which makes Jolteon a pretty good win condition here, hopefully. Plus, just he's very fast. We are going to be running. Sorry about this. I meant to change this, and I did not. This set I had a choice spec set. We're actually going to switch to choice scarf, and we actually only need to hit 240 base speed, which I think is 176. No, what is? Oh, I know why. Because this needs to be modest. So if we put this as modest. There we go, we hit 340 speed, and that's important because, and we get 80, we get a little more bulk there, which is nice. And what this allows us to do, actually, is this allows us to outspeed a Mega Sharpedo at +1 speed. So even if he speed boost protects or something before Mega evolving, we still outspeed it by 1 speed. And then again, there's nothing else on his team that can possibly be faster than that. Even Scarfed, his fastest mon, other than Mega Sharpedo, is just base 100. So again, he cannot be. There's nothing on his team that can be faster, barring like Dragon Dance, like getting 2 Dragon Dances up as Gyarados or something, that can outspeed a Jolteon. And plus, again, with his great coverage here, he's got Signal Beam. We got the Volt Switch and Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice to hit like Celebi, for example. Actually, we'd probably hit Celebi with Signal Beam, but Hidden Power Ice does allow us to hit a Moongus, which my team is actually a little bit walled by. I don't actually have that much for him, but I think we'll be okay. Again, another threat, and again, so we talked about this speed tier is to exactly outspeed, and this is important. This is something I want you guys to think about when you're building your teams, because if you have something that's fast that outspeeds your opponent's team by so much, you really don't need to waste those extra speed EVs. I know a lot of times it's easy to just go 252 and 1, 252, like 252 speed, 222 your attack is that, and then like 4 in HP or something. But really, again, all those speed EVs are kind of wasted in that scenario. So. Again here, and yeah, and this guy one-shots a decent amount of his team. Mega Sharpedo gets owned by it. Gyarados obviously gets owned by it. Celebi comes very close to getting one-shot by Signal Beam. So this will probably be our lead Pokemon. He outspeeds everything on his team, and the only thing that is really he can't Volt Switch on is Golem, which of course is kind of unfortunate if he does start Golem for us or against us, but whatever. Another threat that I thought lined up pretty well actually was Garchomp. The one thing I like about Garchomp is if I can get rid of the Togetic and weaken the Skarmory like a lot, I can actually just click Outrage and like do a ton of damage to a good portion of his team. Nothing really wants to take an Outrage. Again, he has one resistance to Outrage and one immunity. But other than that, everything else takes neutral damage. So I do think Garchomp is a decent win condition. Also, you'll notice here we're not wasting the speed EVs. This is actually exactly one more, well, two more, but I can't actually get it to one. Two more than a max speed. Base 100 speed, which again, we cannot outspeed Torpedo unless we want to put a Scarf on it, but we already have the Scarf on the Jolteon, and I don't like having too many choice users. So there's no real point in choicing it, or in putting that extra speed in it, so we just get a little bit extra bulk here with the 16 speed or HP EVs, which maybe comes up, I don't know, maybe I live something with 3 health. At this point, looking through my team, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do offensively, so I went more to the defensive side. I said, okay, well, what walls his team pretty well, and what and usually I like to have about 2 walls on a balanced team. Sometimes I look at the opponent's team and I look at my walls and I'm like, geez, I just have nothing to wall his team. Like, just nothing really wants to take hits from these Mons. And if that's the case, I will just go all out offense. But in this case, I thought that I had respectable walls here. And so my main answer to his Mega is Mega Scizor. I can take any 2 hits from anything he wants to do to me. And one hit KO it with U-turn because he has Dark, and of course Dark is Dark is weak to U-turn, and he has very poor defenses. Sharpedo is very fast and hits hard, but again, those defenses can fail it. And then of course, so max defense, max HP, and a little bit. Actually, we should do this. Give ourselves just a smidgen. This is important because this increases the amount of times we can switch into rocks. The odd number, just something to be aware of. Yeah, and I did put the defog on here. I wanted a way to get rid of rocks. I was torn on if I wanted any way to get rid of hazards, mainly because I don't actually have any rock weakness on this team. I do have I do have 1 resistance to rocks, so I wasn't too worried about rocks. But again, with the Skarmory on this team, and I'm not who learned spikes that he could possibly bring, and I'm not sure if Amoonguss learns toxic spikes, he might. But again, I did not want to deal with just like a mass hazard stacking, so I did decide to bring Scizor in order to get rid of those hazards if he did decide to bring quite a bit of them. And then the other piece of my wall core here is Umbreon. And Umbreon actually does even better job walling his team, I think, than the Scizor does. Almost nothing on his team can really hurt this thing. Even like bug moves from Zapdos or something like Signal Beam doesn't do a whole lot. Also, this thing threatens his team pretty decently. It beats Gyarados pretty handily. It beats Celebi pretty easily. It beats Mega Sharpedo fairly easily. It just does a good job walling his team and threatening with foul play. I did go with a pretty passive one this time. I went for the Heal Bell, Wish, and Protect. Heal Bell to get rid of those statuses if they do like burn my Scizor or something like that, or maybe poison something. They could paralyze something, which I don't really want to deal with. So I did decide to bring the Heal Bell, and then Wish Protect, obviously just a pretty good combo. And then again, yeah, just the Foul Play is the only attacking move I have. And you'll see he's max especially defensive here. Just a pretty, actually we probably want to, man, I thought I did this already. Maybe I didn't. We'll go ahead and put 8 in defense. Yeah, he takes hits from almost everything. In fact, the only thing that I'm really scared of in this wall core, or the only thing I'm afraid of on his team that I know this wall core cannot beat is Flareon with Superpower. Beats down this wall core pretty easily, especially if it's like a Choice Banded variant. Also, Golem with like Brick Break and Fire Punch or something is pretty scary to this core. But other than that, my thing just crashed. Hold on, guys. I don't know why I did that. We will get that right back up. But other than that, I'm really not too afraid of this team. I did reset my EVs. I will fix that in a little bit, though. Do not worry about it. So then I was like, okay, well, I kind of got my walls. I even have a defog user to get rid of rocks. I even have stealth rocks because really when I was looking through Garchomp, there was nothing else I really felt like I needed. So I just went with the stealth rock because I really do want stealth rocks anyways, especially because he does have, like, how many stealth rock weak Pokemon does he have? He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has 5 Pokemon weak to rocks, which is quite a bit. So I definitely want to bring the stealth rocks here. So really here, I was thinking, well, what is like a good win condition? And the thing I realized, actually I should do this. The thing I realized was this, actually we'll go ahead and do this, was a Nasty Plot Miss Magius is actually a pretty solid win condition. If I can set up a Nasty Plot, and kill. If I can kill the Mega Sharpedo, I outspeed everything on his team, barring Scarf users. And I mean, I speed tie it anyway, so it's not like I'm gonna just get owned by it. And this thing, after a +2, 1 or 2 shots, almost all of his team. So I thought it was a pretty good bring with the Life Orb there. It will have a short lifespan, but I think it should be fine. My plan is not to be switching this thing in a lot. I kind of just want to bring it in the late game when some things are weak and click Nasty Plot once and hopefully outspeed his team and just kill him. Just sweep up the rest. The last one on my team I was kind of torn by. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to bring. I went back and forth for a little bit, and I decided to go with the Mamoswine. We'll take a look at it here. Mamoswine one-on-one beats a good portion of his team. He has things like the Stone Edge for Zapdos. Ice Shard is pretty good against Celebi. He can Earthquake a Flareon or a Typhlosion. Superpower, I think, one-shots Mega Sharpedo. And with the Focus Sash, he's able to pretty much beat almost anything one-on-one. Like I said, he's able to beat not almost anything, but a lot of his team just one-on-one. I might bring him as a lead instead of Jolteon. I'm still kind of considering that. But again, with that... With that Focus Sash, he's able to put in a lot of work against a good chunk of his team. He can't kill everything, but a lot of his team he can't beat. Skarmory still walls him. Amoonguss still walls him pretty well. But again, a good chunk of his team, like, again, Mega Sharpedo, who I'm a little scared of, Gyarados, who I'm a little scared of, he can beat quite a bit of them. So that is the team. The last thing I do want to talk about is just making sure you have all your bases covered. Just kind of a recap. Look for threats against his team. Just kind of go through your list, go through his list, and just kind of say, well, which of my threats match up against him? Like, which of my threats are good against his walls, for example. Pick out, figure out what he could bring as a wall. Like, really, when I think of walls, he's got quite a bit, really. Zapdos can be specially defensive. Celebi can be defensive. Vaporeon can be defensive. Togetic is defensive, Amoonguss is defensive, Skarmory is defensive, and Golem Cam. So he has a lot of walls, so I was almost more worried about wall breakers than I was actually threatening his threats. But again, so think about what threats are good against his threats, what threats are good against his walls, what threats are both, can do both, be a wall breaker as well as like a fast sweeper to beat out his other threats. And then also think, well, which of my threats can I use as win conditions? Sometimes defensive mons are even win conditions. Like something like a defensive Slowbro with like Calm Mind. You can wear down the things that threaten him offensively enough to where he can set up Calm Minds, slack off some damage, and then kind of sweep the team that way. But again, so just think about that offensively. And then defensively, look at his team and try to figure out, I like about 2 walls that hold up well against his team, that between the both of them can kind of take on the majority of his mons. There will be holes, like again we just talked about. I said Flareon and Golem, interestingly enough, are kind of threatening to my walls. But other than that, I think that wall core holds up pretty well. And then lastly, just make sure you have the essentials. Make sure you have like Stealth Rock somewhere on your team. Most of you, at least in my league, have more than one ways to set up rocks. So make sure you have that. Like for example, my opponent just off the top of my head. I know Golem learns it, Skarmory learns it, and Celebi learns, I think, Stealth Rocks too. I want to say he does. So, he can bring any one of those with Stealth Rocks. I mean, everyone has more than one. Also, you probably want a way to get rid of rocks. Just make sure you have that, either Defog, Rapid Spin, even a Magic Bounce user is great. There will be games where, especially long games where you're not able to get them away, where there's a lot of switching, rocks will do a lot of damage, so just make sure you have that. Thanks for watching, guys. I do hope you enjoyed this. Yeah, I don't know why some of my sets reset, but I think you guys saw all the ones I fixed or that I felt needed fixing. So you guys should be fine on that. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I will have my the first matchup and hopefully all the other games from the week up, the rest of the games in my league up by the end of next week. I should have all those up. So again, thanks for watching, guys, and have a good weekend.